Hi, welcome to the show. This is Joycelyn Linton coming into the higher calling, folks. And today is Sunday, the 21st of January, 2018. It's the third day of Epiphany, and I'm at St. Edmund's of Canterbury Church. The morning service has completed, and so I'm just here giving the word of the morning liturgy. And it was quite a nice service and a very interesting message that came out. And I'm going to say that it was a word in due season because, each morning I arise, I spend a couple of hours reading the morning scriptures. And from that, the word of the Lord will come to me. So everything that was said by the vicar and in the reading was on par with the word that came to me. So I'm hoping that I can share it because I never know what I'm going to say until I begin the reading. And that's the way the Lord is. When He uses you, when He calls you to serve Him for that season, we have to go ahead in faith and know that the Lord will come through and deliver. And that's exactly what the message is operating in the faith of the Lord and not in the situation, but in the faith. So I'll just go ahead with the reading, and it's the liturgy of the word, which is ritual. It's an Old Testament reading taken from Genesis, chapter 14, verse 17 to 20, and it's about Abram blessed by Melchizedek. So it says, after Abraham returned from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley. And King Melchizedek of Salem brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. He blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram by God Most High, and maker of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And Abram gave 1/10 of everything. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So now I'm going to go over to the New Testament reading taken from Revelation 19, verse 6 to 10. And it's about the wedding feast of the Lamb. And it says here, Then I heard what seemed to be the voice of a great multitude, like the sound of many waters, and like the sound of mighty thunder peals crying out. Hallelujah! For the Lord our God, the Almighty, reigns. Let us rejoice and exult and give him the glory, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself ready. To her it has been granted to be clothed with fine linen, bright and pure, for the fine linen is the righteous deeds of the saints. And the angel said to him, Write this, Blessed are those who are invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said to me, These are the true words of God. Then I fell down at his feet to worship him. But he said to me, You must not do that. I am a fellow servant with you and your comrades who hold the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. And then I'm going to read the gospel taken from St. John 2, verse 1 to 11. And it's the wedding at Cana. And it says, On the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine gave out, the mother of Jesus said to him, They have no wine. And Jesus said to her, Woman, what concern is that to you and to me? My hour has not yet come. His mother said to the servants, Do whatever he tells you. Now standing, there were 6 stone water jars for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. He said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the chief steward." So they took it. When the steward tasted the water, they had become wine and did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. The steward called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guest has become drunk. But you have kept the good wine until now." Jesus did this, the first of his signs in Cana of Galilee, and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Okay. So, folks, I can take this at an angle here. As I began to read the scriptures, the scriptural word here, another notion began to take place in me. And I'm hesitating to speak what's come into mind because it's a new language. It's a language that I have been trying to provoke or evoke by the Spirit of the Lord that moves through this vessel here. It's a new awakening, or I'm going to say awakening of a new dawn. You know, there's a writer who talks about the Pleiades and the Indigos, and she calls her book The Awakening of the New Dawn, you see. So what I'm saying to you here is that there is a storyline that comes up in mind, but it's not a familiar story to your ears at your present state of awareness, you see. But hey, I'm going to introduce it. However, I do want to pass on the message that our vicar gave to us as we read on Jesus and his mother. And he said that, you know, others will wonder, why did Jesus call his mother, name his mother woman? You see. And some may look at it as being rude to his mother. But actually, it is saying, this is the words of the vicar, saying that there is no other will but the will of the Lord, or there is no other before Jesus and the Lord, you see, and his Father, you see. And so in saying mother, it means that, the vicar is saying, it means that there is no mother between Jesus and his Father. You see, there's none other above him, you see. And I fully agree, because this is a discussion I was having it with myself as I read the scriptures, that there are the messengers of the Lord, the sent messengers, who, that people do not understand them because there is no one between them and the Lord. No one can control them. That's the word I was saying. And sometimes you may wait to talk to the messenger and they've gone off somewhere else because they're on a very strict, disciplined assignment. They've come into this lifetime as assigned souls to serve the Lord and none other than the Lord. And this is something that others may not understand about these particular or peculiar messengers. And they have to be at a certain place at a certain time, and maybe with a certain group of people, and bringing them into a higher awareness of the Lord. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go and preach to people, but just the very presence of them, the Lord will emanate his light energies through them, his healing energies. So they will have to be at certain locations with certain groups of people at a particular time, that as the Lord pulls the cords of the Pleiades, that they emanate this light. And this is what the writer of the book, The Awakening of a New Dawn, was talking about, the Pleiades. She was saying that the indigo people are at this light frequency, the indigo frequency. And then just the next frequency is the infrared frequency, and that's where the angels reign. Okay, so basically, this week as I was reading, the Lord took me to Job, and he was in Job 38, and he said that who can, I'd have to go over to Job, but I don't want to at this instance, because I want to keep the word flowing. I'm just going to go by memory. And I quoted it on the Facebook blog, and he said that who can bind the sweetness of the Pleiades and loosen the cords of the Orion. Let me see if my eyes can skirm it here. Canst thou, this is Job 38 verse 31, and he says, canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? You see? So this is where I'm saying I'm coming into a new storyline, because the Pleiades is associated with the indigo people. And I can say to you that I am an indigo person. And he said, so who can bind? And so the Pleiades, or the indigo people, are sent messengers, folks, to the people on earth to prepare them for the coming of the Lord. Because the Pleiades are, I'm going to say they are stars in the heavenly realms. And when the Lord pulls the cords, they emit a heavenly light within their own bodies. It's not visible to the regular human eye, but it does have a major impact on the people around. So they're spreading light to lift up the awareness of the Lord to the people, and they're also spreading healing energies, you see. So there is a lot happening that we're not always aware of in this physical attribute. But in the spiritual realm, there is a vast amount of shifting and sifting taking place in this very hour as I speak to you. So I want to try and stay in track, because I'm heading in a foreign land right now. And that's what happened with Abram, when the Lord called him and told him to leave his father's house and go to a place where the Lord will bless him and his wife Sarah. And at the time his name was Abraham, right? So the Lord called him to venture into this foreign land, and he had to go by faith. He had to hear the voice of the Lord and follow the guidance, follow the instructions. He didn't know what was going to happen when he got there. Right? The Lord said to him, and again I'd have to go through to the Genesis, which I won't do. And he said, go to the place where I will send you, leave your father's house, and I will richly bless you there. And I had an issue this week when I wrote on the Facebook blog. I said that the Lord had sent me to do art. And I went to a particular place, and I said, the Lord has told me, to come, and don't come, and not to come with money. Okay, but they refute the idea of the situation. So I put it on the Facebook blog, not to report them, but to speak against the situation that came between myself and the people, because the art institution is run by a charity, or it's run by the royal family. And it's a charity base, and it's run by funding, okay? And they do have courses that have concessions to it, and even, that you can get bursary and grants, etc. from it. So I wanted to negotiate that with them, but because I said to them that I've come in the Spirit of the Lord and I've been guided and instructed by the Lord, they immediately cut the situation off. So I knew that something else had intercepted. So in the Facebook blog, I put out a prayer against whatever had intercepted that situation.